What's going on, everybody? How's it going? Welcome to today's trade recap. I took three trades total, two losses, one break even. In hindsight, looking back at my day, it should have been two trades, one loser, one winner, right? And I'll go over what I mean by that exactly. This was the last trade that I took. This was the one that stopped me out at break even, and I'll go over kind of like my executions, what I was looking at, kind of what I was seeing, like my analysis pre-market and all that good stuff, right? So, for starters, we go to say pre-market, right? We go to pre-market on the 5 minute. So on the 5 minute, right? I woke up, bruh. Apologies for that. That's my alarm to go to sleep. I should be going to sleep very soon now. But yeah, gotta get this out of the way really quick, and I also gotta do my journal. So, gotta do my due diligence. I also hung out with friends today. Decided to give myself a little socializing time because it's been a crazy day. But yeah, this morning I was kind of pissed at the end of the day, and I didn't really realize why. It felt like, you know, it felt like I was taking good trades, and then I'm like, it feels like there's something that's not in alignment here. The feels like there's something that maybe I overlooked or just kind of like didn't pay that much attention to, and I did find that. My conclusion is I didn't think about the fact that I woke up to this, right? What are we seeing here? Price has already taken London high. London actually took previous day high, right? So what can we think in terms of like when we break a high or a low, right? Think in terms of like an auction, right? Auction market theory. However it is that you trade, even if it's ICT, even if it's order flow, even if it's just support and resistance, right? How can we interpret highs and lows? Highs and lows in terms of like the ICT terminology, you could see them as liquidity levels, right? And something that I've learned throughout the years with those type of levels is you can also think of them in terms of support and resistance levels. You can also think of them in terms of just structure points. There's multiple ways of interpreting this, but something that holds to be true in all those perspectives is you have to gauge whether or not that level is holding one way or the other. What do I mean by that? If you explain it in ICT terms, with these levels, what you usually expect is a sweep of a high or low, right? A sweep of a high or a low to then trade in the opposite direction. So technically, it sweeps liquidity, right? Might not always be true, but it sweeps liquidity or retests the level, whatever. Either way, either way, you have to gauge whether that's holding to be true or not. And there's multiple ways of doing so. One way to do so is simply watch at a 5 minute chart. Are we like sustaining above the level? See how order flow is reacting. Are we finding buyers still up here, right? Like, are we like maybe retesting the level, still trading higher? Are we like trying? Say in this case, we're like retesting previous day's high. We were above it. Are we able to sustain above here in this place, right? That's a very strong bullish sign in my eyes. We also took this relative equal highs that I had marked out all the way from like freaking November 13th. It was like these highs, these stacked highs over here. So it looked like a pretty important level in my eyes. And I wanted to trade towards this. It's been a target for me for quite some time now this week. And we finally booked them during pre-market. I'm like, dang, okay, like that was my target for longs. What would I have to target? All the way up here inside the resistance zone. So it's kind of harder to target all the way up here, this old daily high slash daily fair value gap. But what I'm getting to is these levels, right? You gotta gauge what's going on at these levels, above or below these levels, or right at these levels, depending on how you mark them. And I'm saying this because we fail to sustain above these levels. Listen, I've traded times where we break through previous day's high, continue breaking higher, leave low volume notes along the way. There was even like I'm pretty sure in this probably like the last week or two, there's been like at least one trade where like we broke above one of these levels, retested it, and continued higher. So that's a possibility, right? In this case, if you want to see it hold as bullish, you probably want to see that level hold. Maybe you're looking at it on, say, like a 50-minute chart, right? Like we're about to open a new 50-minute candle. We left a 50-minute fair value up, aligning with these highs. You want to see that hold, right? But what happens right at open? None of the things that I said. We just dump, right? And here's the thing: if you're like, if I were to go back to how I used to trade, at times there were times where I traded like this, where it's like I don't have a key level, I'm not trading. And here, technically, the only key level that I have is like that pre-market high that we put in at like 910, right? Um, and like you could trade off London low from that, but like once I said, during my context, I was saying, price dumped off open and took London low. Want to see if we continue displacing through this and maybe look for previous day's low, which is all the way down here. Possibility. Maybe look for previous week's high. Like maybe that's a key level for you. I know that's a key level for me. We can definitely see, maybe price trades towards that. Let me see. That's previous week's high. Maybe price trades towards that to find some buyers there. Or maybe we trade all the way down to previous day's low. So, I should have thought in terms of like the higher time frame is telling me we're not able to hold above previous day's high, right? We're not able to do so. Clearly, we like broke above. We're holding with strength. We were kind of holding right before open, and we took this relative equal highs, 1 hour intermediate high, which is just a high inside a 1 hour fair value gap on the 1 hour time frame. And yeah, once I saw this, I'm like, okay. And I even remember saying like off open, because I remember seeing this live. It was not like a single candle that moved it. You could have traded this if you were like open to trading like right into the open. This was a possible trade in my eyes. What happens, right? We dump, continue dumping. We retest New York VWAP, and we break overnight VWAP. What happens after? We find some buyers right below overnight VWAP. Then we retest it, see failed buying. I'm pretty sure there was failed buying at some point here. I think this candle ended up being the failed buying, and then we dump. So say you caught, maybe you joined in on the move somewhere around here. Maybe you put a stop, a very tight stop, like down here, and you target London low. That's a 1.89. Or maybe you're like, you know what, I want to go for a fixed 2R. You could have done that as well. Maybe you want to go for equilibrium, like that 0.5 mark, right? Which is, well, actually at the price levels here, 577. Maybe you go for this, right? That's a possibility. That's 3R right there. Booked. Insane. Insane. Right off open. This is a trade that you would have caught 3 minutes into the open, and it would have lasted probably less than 2 minutes. I know what you're saying. Trading the open is crazy. It can be very crazy. It can be very volatile. It can be very aggressive moves. You can easily get like, maybe you think you get a good entry and then immediately stopped out. So you got to be okay with that. I was for a little bit, and then my mentor yelled at me for it. I'm like, So I've kind of been avoiding it, but the way we've been moving lately, I'm thinking that might be the move. The way we've been moving, it's like we get a good move right off open. Like we get one good move right off open. It happened, well, actually yesterday it didn't happen, but yesterday we got a good move during pre-market. But then I think that happened on Tuesday. We got a good move, and then we kind of like bounced around, and then we dumped. And then I think on Monday maybe happened as well. Monday was a bit better, not gonna lie, in terms of price action. But anyways, I'm rambling here. At this point, I'm like, okay, we can either wait to see if we're displacing through this. It clearly looks like we did. Um, or otherwise, we could wait for bullet structure to form and follow momentum there. And we were kind of like stalling out a little bit, honestly. Like we were just stalling out. We end up tapping into this 5 minute. This could have been an entry if you were able to take that. I don't think I personally did. Um, to me, it looked pretty interesting here how ES continuously was breaking, making lower lows. Like it was breaking low day continuously. NQ was just stalling out. But also, by the time NQ had taken London low, ES had not taken London low. So that's something interesting to see there. So I remember noting this, didn't think much of it, didn't really affect my bias. And then I think we hit the 618, which this fib, by the way, I don't know if I mentioned it, but this fib is basically just from previous day's low all the way to high of day. So this bullish move, which isn't really that strong of a move, I honestly should not have paid attention to this fib. Um, it could have been a good thing if I was looking for longs here, like right at this good 618. But just in terms of like the way I trade, I feel like this was mostly influenced by the people on the call that I was with on the Discord, and yeah, it was just something really unfortunate. You know, shouldn't really thought of it, but yeah, we can actually disregard this because I don't think it holds that much relevance. I can pretty much do my analysis without this, but yeah, because I don't even reference it in any of my trades really. I believe my first trade ended up being, let me see where it is, this one right here. So it happened once we get that break of low of day. So we were kind of holding VWAP for a little bit, but I didn't want to short all the way down here. It didn't look like, it looked choppy. It looked choppy to me. Like I wanted to wait for something clear. I think we actually ended up putting in a 50-minute fair value gap, so we can actually mark that out. I did not, like me personally, I did not do this at this time, but this would have been a pretty good idea to do so, in my eyes. I feel like this would have been a pretty good idea to mark out because it's a pretty strong level, and I just didn't. So this is your 50-minute gap, and yeah, we kind of break low of day and then immediately reverse, and then I think my entry was on the next candle, and this is because we were right at New York VWAP. So if you see the candle before that, I actually traded into it, respected it heavily, and I'll show you what that looked like on Bookmap. Let me see if I can find it really quick. It was this one right here. We trade into New York VWAP, clearly tap it on Bookmap, saw a lot of buying there, and dump. That could have been an entry, right? Me personally did not take this, okay? But then I saw a lot of buying here, and I was seeing sellers step in, and I entered. That was my entry. I did not wait for a break on the tick chart. I did not base myself on tick chart structure for this one, right? I was basing myself off of overnight VWAP, New York VWAP, and I just really wanted to like give it breathing room. I didn't have like a stop loss based on like candlestick structure, right? So you can see my entry was a 585, right? So my entry was 585 flat, and then I think I was targeting maybe low of day. Can't remember exactly. Maybe I was targeting ABX. Yeah. At this point, we had set the IB. So we had set the IB. At this point, you can throw in your. We can throw in the fib of the New York range, right? So we can throw in this. Let's just send it all the way to 1 p.m. And you can also throw in a initial balance, and we'll also make, say, this right here. Oh, that's not what I meant to do. You can throw in a just kind of like a fib, general fib for so we'll do it like this. We'll do it like that, and then we'll mark this one out as a fib, so you can look at your fib levels. Where's this at? There's was right at the 318, 382. Sorry, I did not notice it at the time, but I feel like it's a pretty solid entry. Um, and I'm pretty okay with this loss. Like I was starting at the point one, I was not being like greedy. It was aligned with the 500 level. Maybe that's a psych level for you. I was considering a psych level at the time, but I was targeting just a point one extension, which is it's also aligning with like that previous week's high. So it looked pretty good, right? So to me, you're like, okay, these to me it looks like buyers are gonna get trapped here. We're seeing sellers step in, and then we just start failing, um, and we start recovering above um, New York VWAP. Okay, so what happens here, right? What happens here? My dumbass decided to go against my bias. I let myself be influenced by what one of the guys on the Discord call was saying, which is, "Oh, I am bearish on this day. I am bullish on this day." I'm like, "Yeah, no, the high time frame is like bullish, but clearly there's no buyers here. There's no buyers here. If there were buyers here, this move would take us like rip us, right? Um, and like I feel like if we were to find buyers, it'd be like right at that London low. I feel like it would even be at that point five of that fib, but there's no like clear like good structure to go off of either. So I'm like, okay, you know what? It's whatever. It's whatever. It's whatever. So I decided, this just stopped me out. I feel like I could have cut it early once I saw like we were actually just reclaiming above New York VWAP. Maybe wait to see how overnight VWAP holds, right? If it holds or not. Just like kind of like stick to my bias really. So then that's when this trade comes in. Ended up getting stopped out. I actually reversed my position on this one for a short, and I'll explain why I did that. So clearly we have the 50-minute gap, so we'll say 50-minute right here. And I was looking for a long. I can't remember exactly where my entry was. I remember my stop was in fact at this 5-minute low, mainly because I was thinking, okay, we've reclaimed the buff both New York and overnight VWAP. What does that look like on Bookmap? Looks like this. We were kind of like, it looked like we wanted to fail New York VWAP, and then we reclaim above, hold, and then we push. Once we see these buyers show and continue to push above overnight VWAP, I'm like, I'm in. I know my friend actually entered on this retest of overnight VWAP, which I'm pretty sure is actually a better entry. But yeah, my entry was a bit kind of, you know, not the best, I'd say. So 621 looks like is my entry, if I'm not mistaken. Let me double check. 621.50. So 621.50, 732.50, and 579 was my stop. So 621.50 was my entry. To me, it looked like we've broken above VWAP. We've already retested it, like held there. So I'm like, I want to see this breakout. And to me, I'm like, okay, we're breaking out of this range. I could see this step into this, maybe this 5-minute intermediate high. It's a possibility, right? We're reclaiming above London low. So it looked like there's reasoning behind it. It's not like that, like the trade was taken purely out of like FOMO or like just following the market, right? There's reasoning behind it. I'll say that. But anyways, honestly, this trade, I should have been more patient with it. Mainly because, we're trading into a 50-minute gap, right? The 50-minute gap was it, and we never traded into it up till now. The long makes sense, right? But I also feel like once I see, okay, we barely tap that 618, and then we start failing. No, sir. Once we break below overnight VWAP, that's where I should have reversed my position. I remember thinking about it. I'm like, it could hold New York VWAP, but what else is against you, right? I failed to think of that. I failed to go back to, okay, what was my original trade idea? What was I thinking that? have I been have has price told me that my original trade idea of short at New York VWAP towards the lows is invalid? No. Why? Because we were still below previous day's high, which we held, right? We displaced out of it. We're retesting that area of like, you can see this is where sellers are present, right? We're also retracing like almost to the tick. If we throw in prices, just throw in the prices for the fib, 539.50. The high of this candle, oh sorry, 639.50. The high of this candle is 639.25. It missed by a freaking tick. That's the 618 for me. Even if it's like, if you use like thicken the lines, if you use thicken the lines, it looks like it tapped it, right? If you use thicken them, it looks like it tapped it. If you want to get precise with it, like down to the tick, it's missing one by one tick. That's good enough of a retest for me. If we're seeing like our confirmation there, we should be taking that. And I'm like, okay, maybe I'm not convinced by this. Maybe I want to see a reclaim below overnight VWAP. We get that. We get that. So I'll show you the book map, right? So this is the entry, right? This is the entry that I took on the second trade. And this is, I showed you this. This is where we broke above. We're sustaining above New York VWAP. We were breaking above overnight VWAP. We barely hold for like 10 minutes above overnight VWAP. We're seeing our CVD increase, try to get on the positive. We're seeing a lot of buying here, a lot of buying, where sellers are still present here. They're actually able to move the market. Buyers not so much, right? So like once we see this break with aggressive selling under overnight VWAP, take the short, man. Take the short. You take it what at 610 probably. Let's say like 605 to be like generous, right? I'm pretty sure my entry was not that good. I'm pretty sure my entry on that third trade was not that good. Yeah, it was like 20 points below that. Jesus. But anyways, I'm crashing out here live. Funny. But yeah, this trade I ended up reversing my position as it got really close to my stop. I'm like, yeah, this is gonna dump. I'm like, it's not holding New York VWAP. Once I saw like, I think I actually have a picture of when it happened. I think when we broke with strength is when I entered, or maybe when we got a retest. I think it was when we broke with strength. We retested it, and then we actually sliced through it with strong selling. That's when I entered my short. But say you took it at 605. Oh, that's not the tool that I was going for. 605. 605 flat, right? Stop at the high. TP at the low. That's your entry. Guess what happens? This is a trade that I should have taken. And that's what I mean by one loss, one win. That's what today should have been. And this is why I'm mad at myself about it, because I've once again let myself be influenced by other people's opinions on the ideal trade. They don't have the same strategy as me, right? I'm the type of trader where, yeah, I want to have high time frame alignment. Follow the trend. The trend is your friend. Absolutely. But when the direction is clear for the day, it's one day. This thing goes on for years on out, right? You could be trading a retracement on the higher time frame, and that's fine. I've told myself that. If you're trading the retracement on the higher time frame, make sure you're taking the continuation on your medium time frame, and that's exactly what this is. Look at it on the 15-minute, man. Tell me this is not continuation on the medium time frame. What do? We retest a high time frame level, fail and displace, retrace the move, continue lower. And we're not even saying like, oh, this is gonna dump all the way to like Monday's low. No, we're going for like an internal low. We're taking 84 points, which is an insane move. If you're able to put it on 1 mini, let's do the math, shall we? Let's do the math, right? How much is a point worth on NQ? $20, right? So you're putting in 1 mini, so 1 times 20, right? Okay. So we can agree $20 per point times 84.5. Are you telling me you wouldn't be happy with that? 1,600 freaking bucks on a single, like on a move like this simple? And I've been telling myself, like, PA is slow. Good. PA is slow. Take advantage of it. You're getting clean, like slow retraces. It gives you time to think about it. It gives you time to analyze. Take a good entry. Let's even look at it on. Okay, this is the losing day. I was about to show you guys here in a second, but let's look at it on a tick chart, right? Let's just for the shits and giggles, for shits and giggles, where was the retracement? Okay, retracement right here, right here, right here. I'm pretty sure this gives us even a better entry than, or actually, it might give us a very similar entry. What happens here? Clearly, we find a consolidation level on the tick chart, which is right above that overnight VWAP. This is just a different representation of what Bookmap looked like at this time. Can you tell me there's not any similarities between these two? You gotta be kidding me. Come on. It's clear. So maybe you're like, I don't know how to read the bubbles. Okay, take a tick chart. What's happening right above overnight VWAP? You're looking at it on TradingView, you know we're above overnight VWAP. You know if you have Bookmap, maybe just to have the VWAPs on them, right? We have our levels. We have, you know, we see buyers, and then we're like sellers are still trying to push. What happens here? We break on to the downside on the tick chart. If price were to be bullish, in my eyes, in my opinion, we should not be able to do this type of break. We should not be able to do so. Just target low of day, which is like that IB low. That's 90 points. $1,800 right there, booked. Are you kidding me? Well, with 1 mini, I would have probably entered with 3 micros. Let's do the math. Right? Let's do the math. 0.3 times 20 times 90. $540. That's a damn good winning day for me. But yeah, I unfortunately was not able to pull it off. Well, I think it actually might be more. 3 times 2 times 90.75. 544. Okay, it's not that much. But 3 micros, and this would have paid, bro. This would have paid like a mofo. And that's on a $200, less than a $200 risk. So that's a 3R. This is a 2.47R. Either way, it's a good entry. And my dumbass decided to hold along, right? So like I was saying earlier, in my eyes, if we were truly bullish, we should not be able to slice through overnight VWAP the way we did, right? We should be able to just break, like if this is a breakout, we should just do a small retrace and then break out of the 618 and just continue higher. But we don't do that. This is just a clear directional day. Well, not really, like maybe not that clear, but like just look at that market structure. It's clear. It's clear. You can't tell me it's not. You can't tell me it's not clear. Like, come on, man. This is honestly, like, I think I'm mad at myself at the fact that there was a setup that was as perfect as this one, right? Clear area of sellers. Clear area of sellers. And we're kind of like retesting above overnight VWAP. And I've even told myself, just because we're above one of the VWAPs, it doesn't mean we're going to sustain above it. We could easily fail. We could like look above it and then fail. Or we can like look below it and then pump, right? I told myself this in the past in my journal. journaled this because I've seen it, and it's also at the 618. Clearly wicked. Look at the 5 minute. Should you get these candles at the 618 if we're bullish? Tell me. Okay, maybe say you're not looking at that fib. Say you're looking at this fib. This is 0.5. Say you're looking at this fib with the high of day all the way to the low of New York session. Should we, if we're bullish, should we be stalling out at the 0.5? I don't think so. I really don't think so. Should we be getting a doji followed by this strong bearish candle? Enter there. Enter on the candle close. That's a 1.83R. This trade lasts for like what? You enter here. 1, 2, 3, 4. 20 minutes. Done. Done for the day. But my dumbass, I was looking at this fib, which I think it's valid. It's valid. It's the New York range. My dumbass decided it was a good idea to hold the long right here. Hold it. Even though we're getting that reaction, this because you see that I had it marked out. I had it. I knew there was a 618 there. That's another thing that pisses me off. Okay, I'm just crashing out live. This is so funny. Anyways, we're gonna come back so much better today on the next day and the following days. Jesus. This was the short that I took. 584.75 was my entry. So 584.75 was my entry. My stop was the same, and instead of targeting that, I did not want to have a 1.18R. Why? Because I'm a greedy mofo. Simple as that. I'm greedy, and I wanted the full 2R. Or not even that, actually. I wanted the 1.54R. Because it was going to be enough for me to recover the losses. 1.53R. It was going to be enough for me to recover the losses, right? And I was like, okay, we're breaking the New York VWAP. This is it. We're going to break that IB low. Because at this point, set the IB low, right? There's a higher probability that we're going to break the IB low, right? So you have the 618, 50-minute fair value gap. Area where sellers are most likely present, considering we just slice through the VWAPs, right? We're also retesting, like, I guess, like, you could call this like a support level that got broken through. It's being retested. You would expect that to hold this resistance. Maybe you're looking at like a resistance level, like, say, like these lows, right? See these lows, you're holding. Oh, there's support there. What do? Try to get above it. Fail. Support broken. So resistance holding. That's what I meant. And I decided to hold to 0.1, which statistically it does make sense. But what doesn't make sense? My entry. My entry doesn't make sense because I've already missed out on 54 points of a move. If, say, I enter on the 605, I'm entering like 20 points lower. I'm entering 20 points lower on this trade than what I should have in my eyes. I should be taking profits where I should be taking profits. Simple as that. And I even saw it got closed by what? 4 points of my TP. I went break even once it broke the IB low. Right? You can see on, if I show you my execution, it's going to be shitty because there's a bunch of them. But you can see, yeah, these are today's trades. I'll actually show you, like, I'll go to performance stats and I'll show you we're down 300. This win rate doesn't really matter to me so far because we've had like only break-even trades. Obviously, the profit factor and average RR is going to be poo-poo so far because we only had like break-even trades as winners and a very small partial win. And there's only 3 trading days so far. But you can see on my executions on this day, we had 2 losses back-to-back. Actually, the exact same amount, which is kind of funny. I did not notice that, but 2 losses back-to-back of the exact same amount, and then a break-even trade, $12. So Why did it do that? What the heck? I don't know why Top Step continues to do this, where it just rearranges this shit for no reason. Sorry, I'm just like looking at all this. I'm like still pissed. But anyways, we can remove all the drawings from this. And also, what the heck is this overnight price action? Anyways, overnight price action is just what? What is it, bruh? Maybe we're actually now accepting above previous high. Who knows? We'll see. But yeah, that's why I'm mad at myself, because I went against my original bias, and just because the longs look good doesn't necessarily mean, in this case, in my eyes, according to my analysis and my strategy, it doesn't necessarily mean that the shorts are invalid. The shorts are still freaking valid. We even actually do get to the point 1 afterwards. We get a deeper retrace. We retest that 618 again. Freaking again. Take it off the candle close. Put your stop at the high. Maybe you don't want to risk too much. Right? Maybe you don't want to risk too much on that. Maybe you get in on the candle close. Get in on the next candle. Buy your stop at the high. 8R. Just like that. Just like that. You would have had to hold this for quite some time. From like 12:05 all the way to 2:20. Like a couple of hours. But it worked. So lesson learned, right? I've been able in the past to get an account all the way up to a 50K account. I've gotten up to 52,600 or 52,400, like $600 off of passing it. I know I can do this. I know I can do this. I just gotta trust my freaking gut, trust my analysis, because I know what I'm doing. I'm just even getting more precise with my entries. I'm getting better entries. Right? Like these type of trades, I love these type of trades. Like a 50-minute for leg up with a 618 and a VWAP. Come on, man. Come on. That's like chef's kiss. Come on, brother. But anyways, that's my crash out. It happens, right? I feel like it's been very helpful to just kind of let it all out. Let it all out. Talk to you guys about it. Be transparent. Show you guys what I've done, my takeaways, and this honestly is just for me to get better, right? This is what we do this for. This is why I'm doing the videos. This is why I'm doing my journal. It's for me to get freaking better, because that's the best thing we can do. Put in the work to get better, right? So that wraps up today's training recap, which has been an interesting one for sure. All I can say is, if you watched all the way, I truly appreciate you for watching. If you watched part of it, that's also fine. I understand it's a long video. It's a 40-minute video at this point. Still appreciate you. Please leave a like, comment, and subscribe. And yeah, hopefully from now on it'll be bangers only. And if it's a loss, it's a loss. Like, it's got to be like a loss that I'm happy with taking. With like, honestly, like the first trade, that's a loss that I'm happy with taking. I understood, like, you know, what I was doing with it, and it is what it is. Could have it been better? Sure, but it is what it is, right? And yeah, anyways, that pretty much wraps it up for me, guys. Once again, thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it, and hopefully I'll catch y'all tomorrow with a banger trade. All right, y'all. I'll catch y'all in the next one. Peace.